Hi, my name's Danny. This is my current home. This is my 2009 Dodge Caravan. I started building this about a year and a half ago. It was a big mental health project because I just had so much anxiety. I couldn't make any decisions, so I needed something to commit to. And I heard this quote that said, anything worth doing is worth doing poorly. So rather than doing an hour of yoga, do 2 minutes, you know? And I just threw a sheet of plywood in and I built the floor, and then everything just went crazy from there, and I got obsessed. So you'll see my obsession. So single bed I got off of Amazon. The foam wasn't so good, but I ended up buying an IKEA mattress, cutting the foam and putting into it. It's been much more comfortable. This is the second bed that I've done. The first one was a 2x4 frame with slats, and it was like 40 pounds heavier, and it just hurt my hips. So I ended up buying some birch plywood and building it a little bit shorter because I didn't need as much space underneath, which gave me more headroom, venting it. And then this is the table that I had on the old one too, which just helps with cooking or having tea or whatever, just for fun. Everything's pretty much for fun. I tried to put the mentality of making this build as if it wasn't fun, I didn't want to do it. I live in a van because why not? It's something I've always wanted to do. Traveled a lot. I feel like there's so many reasons why I want to do it. Maybe just out of curiosity, maybe out of just being a transient person and traveling and always coming back and not necessarily having a private place. Always ended up living in other people's homes because I was trying to save for my next trip. And also just the climate of how much things cost now. It's pretty ridiculous. And if you want to save for things or live in a certain way, and personally for me, I think it's all about what's your dream and what do you want to live for. And if you want to really work really hard for those things like a house and rent and work lots of hours, go for it. But that's just not what I want to do right now, especially when I don't know exactly what I want to do. I'm in a transitory part of my life, and honestly, it's just fun. You know, you're not gonna live forever, so have fun. Took out all the Stone Go seats, which was like 200 pounds of weight. Saved a lot of weight. I put back here is mostly just storage. I have some tools, my camping chair. This also has like a little light for nighttime if I need it. I built these two separate. This is my first build, 1 year, and then the next year I built this. And this has been pretty extensive. This is about 50 to 60 hours of work, 16 pieces to make. Again, I said obsessed. Here's my little reading light. I actually got off of one of Forrest's other videos. Just keep it amber, keep it stealth. My little coffee station. This is my favorite little pride and joy so far. It's taken me a long time to wire this in, and it's still in its beginning stages, but this is my little vent, which I put through the vent window. You can kind of see in the construction, there's a hole there that I built into the wood, and it vents out through there. This is my pull-out kitchen. I put everything in here. Just a little leg, it's a friction, so I just save it because sliders do take a bit of space, and I don't have much space. I just did friction, and again, it was fun, it was easy. Anything that got in the way, I didn't do. So just some extra stuff, oils, food, stove, cooking stuff. I also have a small MSR stove, which I use the majority of the time just for coffee and tea and heating up water and stuff like that. This drawer also slides all the way into the van to the driver's seat, so I can actually access it from the inside if I do want to keep everything shut. Some of the benefits of living in my van or a vehicle, in my experience, has just been pure freedom, in the way that if I don't like being somewhere, I can just leave. If I want to go experiencing something, I can. It's a great conversation piece for myself. For the last 20 years, I've isolated myself out of anxiety, and so this project's really became an extroverted way of connecting to people. So when I don't want to talk to people, the back's closed, but as soon as it pops open, I have people asking me questions. I can talk to them, see what they're thinking about it, hear about other people's stories, and that's one of the larger benefits. I ended up custom making all these drawers, which took forever. And I gotta tell you, if you want to build stuff like this, you gotta be okay with getting upset and getting a little bitchy. For me, I'm pretty vocal about it. And then I just used some magnets here that I screwed in and some L brackets to attach it. I did cut up panels, so this is a permanent build. in the back. All of this is fixed to itself and used self-tapping screws to actually brace it with some metal brackets and stuff like that. Fire extinguisher, because there's quite a bit of electrical in here. This is my battery monitor. Helps a little bit, just make sure things are working and keep track of the voltage. And this is my main USB for most of my charging. Retrospect, it's not the best place, just because the cords are always out and sometimes I might catch them in the door. But c'est la vie, I can always put another one in somewhere else. And then on this side of the bed, it hinges as well. I've actually added a lounge mode to it. This piece of wood I got at Home Depot was already finished and pretty, so I just screwed that into the floor. And honestly, I don't use it that much, but it was fun. So again, just have fun. Don't worry too much about it. And then actually, this I actually access from the other side. I don't have to lift up the bed, but this is just a basic folding IKEA container, and this has all of my clothes in it. So it's actually perfect for the height of the bed. I would say minimalism was something that's been growing in my life for a long time, even before I thought about van life or living in a van. My first time downsizing was about 15 years ago before I went to Australia. Back then there wasn't much of a marketplace for selling things, so I just loaded up a whole U-Haul and took it to the Salvation Army and just let go of things, which was so freeing. And every time I came back, I was a lot more mindful about the things that I would accumulate, more long-term things that would serve me more, which end up costing less money in the long run and more money in the short term, which I enjoy a lot more. So by the time I got into the van, like I was saying, it's more stuff than I usually have. To make this lifestyle possible. This is where I'm keeping my battery, my fuse box, and my tools. Long-term project, I'm working on organizing the wires and cleaning it up and working on a cover, so don't worry. I'm thinking about those things. But you can't do everything all at once, you know? You gotta be patient and think. I've learned a lot about thinking. You just have to stop and think. And then on the back of the chairs, I actually bought a full door Walmart kind of shoe rack, storage rack, and I cut it up and then added some denim to strengthen this, and then some bamboo sticks my mom had just to make it a bit more rigid at the top. Sewed in some strings here and strings on the bottom to fix it to the back of the chair, and it's been great. I mean, I love it. It's diverse. It's not pre-packaged and defined. I can do what I want. So this is mostly toiletries like mouthwash, shampoo, moisturizer, you know, beard trimming and stuff like that. And then on that side, the black bag's the garbage. Got my good old pee bottle. Love it. Thanks, Value Village. Last year, basically, I didn't have any heat, so I wanted to make sure I wasn't getting any mold, and so that's why I did that. And the Caravan itself has two heaters, one in the back, one in the front, and the coolant runs through the whole vehicle. And I would just go for a drive and let the car get up to 30 degrees. And I've never had a problem with mold yet. But in the other cubby, which is, I won't show you because it's a disaster, it's just full impact, I'm actually adding in a Propex heater. So I've drilled some holes in the floor already where I'm going to be running the piping for the intake and the exhaust, and I'll be having a propane heater. So my goal is to be comfy in the winter and have my independence. On top of the van, there's a 200-watt solar panel. I put a piece of stair molding on it so you couldn't see the aluminum frame, just to kind of black it out a little bit. And then I ran the solar wire under my rooftop box here. And for those of you that have seen people wire through the windows or cut holes, you don't have to. If you just run a wire down here, I just Gorilla taped it and I used a sleeve to cover the wires. And then just down here, there's a grommet. And so whether you've cut the panel or not, this is right behind a sheet of metal that has a hole in it. And you can actually pull the wires through and be able to get it through. I actually ended up running mine through my cabinet, through the carpet here, and then you can kind of see they run in here to the batteries. And I have two 50 amp hour Life P04, not sure how to say it, but lithium batteries. And I honestly have never discharged them. I only use it for charging my phone, my fan, and my fridge. Challenges a little bit in a vehicle, definitely just like planning how you eat and when you drink coffee. If you have a larger vehicle and you have a toilet, you know, bee's knees. You can do whatever you need to do when you got to do it. But I like to just orientate myself so I'm in places or close to places that when I need to do the deed, I got somewhere to do it. Being a guy, it's easy. I got a pee bottle. I know that there's variations for women to have that as well. Yeah, I think that's one of the harder parts. And also, if you're in suburbia, it's like finding places to park that you don't draw attention. Luckily, my vehicle's small. People don't really notice it. I show up late. I go to work in the morning. People don't know. But ideally, I don't really like hiding. It's something I would love to see different in a society that maybe more nomadic people or gypsies or, you know, you just see people doing it and it's okay. And here then you can see my fridge. I got a Dometic CF25. I saw it on another video actually that one guy said this is the only one that fits in between caravan seats. And so I searched really hard for it because it's not made anymore, but I found one that was used and it's been fantastic for me. It's quiet, it doesn't use lots of power, it's cold, it actually does freeze stuff. On the other side, I keep my water in the front, and it's just a basic 3-gallon bottle, just with those Canadian Tire like blue and white pumps, which you see all the time, so pretty simple. Yeah, complicated but simple, just like me. What I've learned about myself living this way is like how creative and how I can do anything. I feel like the big lessons for me when I was living in a home and I had so much time to myself, it was like I could think too much about myself existentially, about who am I, what am I doing. I found that living in the vehicle, like I have these little tasks, whether it's like going to get food or going to shower, or going to use the gym, which I found really beneficial. Is just like taking care of myself more because I'm going places rather than having comfort. And as well as just having projects on hand, so my mind's occupied. And I feel like what I really want to pass on to people is like, do something with your hands because it's real. It's here and it's now. The things I've learned about living this way, about myself, would be how open I am to conversing with people, how much I love being outside, how much I love fresh air, the quiet that you can find. It's not always quiet, but the quiet you can find. As well as just the quiet of like less electricity going on around you. I've noticed being in buildings and all that, there's this kind of static energy. And I don't mean hippie energy, I mean like actual energy around you, which I've experienced in power outages when everything's out. When I lived in a small town, it just gets really quiet, and I really enjoy the quiet. The things I recommend for people that are interested in this lifestyle is just be brave. We're always doubting ourselves. I feel like it's just part of being a human to have doubt. Being in limbo of deciding to do something or not is kind of the hardest place to be. So you never know until you start. Some people say jump into your vehicle, get to know it, go camping. Maybe that's for you. For me, it was a lot about the project and more about building stuff. And it just happened to turn into a home for me. Just be brave and have fun. And don't worry about what other people think, and have good conversations with yourself. You know, the things that you're afraid of, about maybe people seeing you or having to figure out the logistics of parking and being stealth or whatever that means to you. Just talk to yourself about what you need, and then you'll find exactly what you need. I didn't really have many expectations. I've lived a pretty minimalist lifestyle for many years with a lot of traveling that I've done. The least that I've owned was like a backpack, a t-shirt, a long sleeve pants, and a sweater. And I walked for 2 months through Europe. And every time I came back home, I had less. So this is actually a lot more than I think I would have. So I didn't really have any expectations getting into it. I would say my personal philosophy in life is to be kind. Do your best to be kind to yourself, to strangers, to your differences, to your humanity, to your darknesses and your lights, your highs and your lows, and finding acceptance. I would say as well, a big thing in my life that taught me a lot is like, just remember that you're gonna die. Life can be way more shorter than you think it could be. You might not have as much time, and not in a way of fear, but in a way of wisdom, of being able to live in the moment more presently with people, to remember that when you cast judgments, you're actually just missing out on life. And also to have forgiveness for people that have wronged you or the wrongs that you've done. Try to clear up all the negative things that keep you from feeling more open of being yourself, so you can just be open and see what things could come. And just be yourself. It's hard, but just do your best.
Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please share it with a friend. Also, if you want to watch more alternative dwellings, we got a playlist popping up right here, and we release new episodes every single Sunday, so consider subscribing.